All right. So, listen, we're talking about just two teams or four teams that are playing right now. Four teams that are playing. So we got Pacers, Knicks, exciting. We've got Nuggets. We got Timberwolves, exciting. Ooh, great. Then there's a dude who's not playing. His team made the playoffs and he still wasn't playing. His name is Jimmy Butler. You covered him when you were working in Chicago. He was a member of the Chicago Bulls. He's not playing. And, we all know people like this. Okay, now Jimmy Butler is a all NBA player. He's got an all NBA background, and, he's been an all-star half dozen times, and, a nice career and has carried teams. Playoff Jimmy is a thing. But when you ain't playing, some people who don't play, but they just sit there and they just talk a lot of trash, but they don't be like, hey, well, why don't you come out here? Well, if I could, hey, in my day, you lucky I got these shoes on. You lucky I got this cast on. Like, okay. Listen to Jimmy Butler. Listen to Jimmy Butler talking at a Rock the Bells radio event about the NBA playoffs. Here he is.
Yo, video this. You got it?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, action. If I was playing, Boston would be at home. New York, damn sure would be at home. Josh Hart. My God. That mean to me. Josh Hart. Yo. Stop. Come on, man. Nah, I love Tibbs, but I don't want to. I love Tibbs. I love you, baby. I want to beat you to a pulp. You want me, I don't want you. It's like a one-sided relationship. You in love with me, and I love you, but I'm not in love with you. You know what I'm saying? Love, my brother.
So first thing I want to know is what was in that cup. Okay, what was in that cup, Jimmy, that you had at the radio event? Secondly, Jimmy Butler played 60 games this year. He played 60 games. He played 0 playoff games. After they won their one playoff game of the first round, they won their one playoff game, he's out there on these social media streets, Jimmy, tweeting, trying to troll Jaylen Brown. Don't let us get one. It's 1-1. Coming back. They go back to Miami. He still says they're going to beat the Celtics. Sit down, Jimmy. Sit down. I'm so tired of Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat. They talk so much. Yeah, but remember we talked about earlier? We talked earlier about the Knicks having a lot of confidence from a championship that was won in 1973. But I understand that. That's a fan base. They're excited. They just love basketball. What I don't understand is the Miami Heat putting Heat culture on their court. Dwayne Wade ain't coming through that door. LeBron James left 10 years ago. What's Heat culture? What's Heat culture? What's Heat culture? Y'all don't want no championships, but you talk like a champion. Hey, you've got banners, but currently Duncan Robinson is not Heat culture to me. I'm sorry. Terry Rozier is not Heat culture.
Is the Boston in you coming out? Is that what this is?
Jim, no, it's not Boston. Because you know what? If Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown said, hey, we're the Boston Celtics, and there's a way to do business around here. I'm like, you just play under banners. You haven't won a banner. What are you talking about? So Jimmy Butler has also not won a banner. He's sending teams home from the sideline. Please explain. You know him much better than I do. I don't know him at all. I just know him as a really rugged, talented basketball player when he's on the court. But too often, brother ain't on the court. So why are you talking?
I mean, do you expect him to be quiet? Have you not seen
Yes.
Jimmy Butler's movies? Like, this is what he does. He is a top troll.
When you ain't playing, be quiet.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
You go
Here's the
send
thing.
somebody home. You woulda.
But he has. When you think of teams in the Eastern Conference, when you think of teams who are the powers, you think of the Celtics, you think of the Knicks, you think of the Milwaukee Bucks. The Miami Heat has sent all of those teams home recently. recently.
Yes.
Remember, last
That's
year?
right.
Last year,
The
when
last
Jimmy
3
Butler was
years.
healthy,
It's last 3 years. Yep.
send him home. And there's one team out of the last 5 years who has gone to the NBA Finals multiple times in this age of parity. Now, the Heat haven't won it, but they've gotten to the NBA Finals 2 times, right? So, yeah, and this year was a step back. But I feel like I look at the roster and I say, that's not a Jimmy Butler problem. That's a Miami Heat problem. Like, is Jimmy Butler the best player on a championship team? He still could be. He's on the back end of that.
No.
You don't think so?
No, you don't think so either. Listen, you like him. You said, is this a reporter? Is this the Chicago in you coming out? Where you say, you don't think so. You don't think so.
I'm from Detroit. I'm from Detroit.
I know, I'm saying you're from Detroit, but you worked in Chicago. This is the Chicago, Vinny Goodwill, working in Chicago.
No, I'm going to tell you a
Butler.
story. I'm going to tell you a story. All right?
All right, story time. All right, guys.
So this was back when the Golden State Warriors used to practice in Oakland. They practiced on top of the Oakland Marriott, right? Downtown Oakland, right? Jimmy Butler is just shooting around in there. He's playing for the Bulls. I'm covering the Bulls. Jimmy decides to strike up a conversation with me. He says, you got me, you've got Paul George, you got Kawhi Leonard. Who are you taking out of the 3 of us? And I'm looking around and I'm like, should I kiss Jimmy's ass right now? And of course, me being me, I'm like, I'm taking you last. This is like Kawhi in San Antonio. This is Paul George in Indiana.
Yeah.
I said, I'm taking those guys first. I'm taking Kawhi first, taking Paul second, I'm taking you last. Like, you're a good player, but you ain't those dudes. He looked me dead in the face and said, I'm going to prove to you that I'm better than both of those guys. So when you say the Chicago and me is coming out, that ain't really my get down. Okay? I do think that the Miami Heat roster needs help. I do think that Jimmy is a star co-star on a team that goes to the NBA Finals. I'm sorry, I don't look at the Boston Celtics and find myself very impressed by them, at least not until they actually win something. Like, I think the way that they play is very, it's very.
Thank you. Say it again. Yes. Until they win something. Yeah. What you said.
Yeah. But you're asking me. What? So you think? Wait. Jimmy Butler has to win to talk?
Oh well, listen. You said you're not impressed, but he talks like he can talk anytime he wants. Okay, obviously. Yeah, talk anytime you want. But I think you need to be called out when you're talking about who you would have sent home if you had been out there and you weren't out there. Jimmy Butler hasn't played 65 games. It ain't been the 1990s like we were talking about at the beginning of the show, but he hasn't played 65 games. It's been a bit. It's been 5-6 years since he played 65 games in the regular season. So
I agree. He has to take the regular season more seriously. I agree.
And here's the other thing. Okay, he's not even at the threshold of getting an award, right? Isn't that 65? You got to get to 65 to get these awards now. And I don't want to question his injuries, but I will say this. I'm not questioning his injuries. If you take some of the best players in basketball, players who are at Jimmy Butler's level or better, and you say, hey, just take it easy in the regular season and come back for the playoffs, they might be playoff Paul, playoff Jason, playoff Tyrese too. Okay, so you're about it in the playoffs. Yeah, but you really didn't go through the rigors of the regular season like some of these dudes you're competing against, and now you're talking like you're either on their level, some of these champions, or above them. I think there's just so much protection. I'm not saying you're doing this, but there's so much protection of the Jimmy Butler brand and so much inflation. He's inflated, is what I'm saying. He's an inflated player. He's an all-star player, but he's not a first-team all-NBA player. And he's not a champion, and yet we talk about him like he's those two things, all-NBA champion. He's not that. Calm down. That's all.
Look, there's some guys who are champions who we don't give respect to for inane reasons. So I don't think it's this hard and fast thing. I think you're being a little harsh on him. I don't look at that Miami Heat roster. I go back. I look at that Miami Heat roster, minus Jimmy Butler, and I say you can put a top 10 player on that, whoever your top 10 player is, and they still probably wouldn't be any further than where they are right now. Or you put Luka Doncic there, and then you take Luka Doncic off. They wind up losing in the first round. So you take Miami Heat's best player off the roster, Jimmy Butler, who got hurt, legitimately hurt. Like he wasn't sitting, he wasn't chilling. You know what I mean? He wasn't chilling.
If they let Luka be free, they'd be better. But you got to come into the grinder of Heat culture. We got to change you because the way you came in is not good enough. You got to come in and you got to prove your toughness.
What is this Miami Heat hate coming from? I didn't know that you were the chairman.
It's too much.
You need to come back. You know what?
Hey.
You need to come back with a purple hat, like Ice-T in the Player Haters Ball. You are Silky Johnston today, man. What is wrong with you?
I know, man. Look, I love champions. I give respect to all the champs. Like you go Toronto Raptors and Kawhi, I'll give them their love. I'll give the Warriors their love. You know, great champions, the Cavs, all these teams that have won it, I'll give you your props. But when you start to continue to weave your non-championship narrative, it just annoys me. It annoys me. It does. I got to admit that. Okay. Speaking of something else that annoys me, I'm off. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna get off the hatred of the Miami Heat. Although you can't spell heat without hate. Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna move on from them. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.